Hey, good morning. Appreciate everybody coming for the Alabama Department of Labor Market Information Training. It's going to be completed for Gerald Nix. We're going to go over, Gerald has a PowerPoint to go over. Questions will be answered at the end of the PowerPoint and presentation. So, Gerald, appreciate you coming on today. Turn it over to you.
Thank you, Kevin, and I appreciate everybody that's at the Career Centers today that's taken the time out to join me. For some of you, this may be a small review of what we've previously covered. For those of you that are new, hopefully these will be some great resources that you'll be able to rely upon as you go about your tasks working with clients on a daily basis. So what we're going to cover today is basically how to do wage lookups to find out what the current wages are for occupations in the state of Alabama. Do a little career exploration, and then wind up with a demand occupation review and how you can find that on our website for those that aren't familiar with that. But just to start with wage lookups, our wages are based out of OEWS, so the Occupational Employment and Wage Surveys. We update those on a quarterly basis, so those wages have been updated to include the newest ECI factors. There's a couple of ways that you can find wages on our website. One is by simply going to our LMI homepage. So if we scroll down just a little bit on the LMI homepage, you can see there's some career exploration. There's the newest release for unemployment off to the side on the right there. But if we scroll down, we'll see the wage lookup tool. So with this tool that's on the main page, on the home page, this is going to be statewide wage information. You can select whether to look at it hourly or annually. There's a drop down here where if you wanted to look at, say, we'll go with registered nurses, since that's one of the most popular occupations in the state of Alabama. Just choose from the drop down, whatever occupation that may be, and then it will update to that annual wage or hourly wage for that occupation. You can see in the footnote down here that this has been updated with the current ECI factors through June of 2023. Now, the other way that you can look up occupational wages, so I'm going to scroll back up to the top. We're going to go to the OES tab. And if you come down here in the menu to the interactive wage survey estimates and click on that link, that will load an interactive tableau that we've set up for reviewing wages. This one is going to be available for the statewide as well as the different metro areas, as well as the balance of the state. If you're not familiar with what county lies within a metro area or a balance of state, we do have a map, and hopefully that's showing up on the shared screen right now. So you can see a map of the state with the different counties and where they fall into either a metro area, or you can see up here on the left-hand side, you've got 6 counties that fall within the Northwest balance of state.
Gerald, it's not coming up, so it's probably on a different screen. You may have to drag it.
Okay.
There it is. We got it now.
Okay. Great. Thank you for that input. I appreciate that. So you can see on the left-hand side now, the Northwest balance of state with Franklin, Marion, Winston-Coleman, Fayette, and Lamar counties in that area. So this will be, just one way to figure out exactly where you're looking for those wages and that occupational information. So let me go back. So now we should be back to looking at the interactive viz. You can look at this first tab. So if you follow where my mouse is on the left-hand side here, You can look at occupational wages in different ways. Alphabetical, you can look at it by clicking on the tab for occupational group detail, or you can look at it by industry. And I'll be honest with you, one of the best ways I like looking at this is using the industry tab. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And what I do within the industry tab will apply as far as filters and things like that with the alphabetical occupations. But you'll see why I like using this in just a minute. So when we change the occupations by industry tab, you can see on the left-hand side, we now have a drop down for industry sectors. And on the right-hand side, we've got a drop-down menu for the areas that we want to look at. So what I'm going to do today is show you one of the ways you can utilize this. So if you have a client, they're interested in getting into, say, a training program, or maybe they're close to finishing up a training program, but they want to make sure that they're maximizing their return on investment to make sure they're getting the best pay that they can get based on where they work. So I am going to scroll down, if it will keep up with me, all the way down to where the transportation occupations are. So we're going to look at heavy and tractor trailer truck drivers, another one of those high demand occupations within the state. So the SOC code for that is 533032. Sorry, it's lagging a little bit as I scroll down. There we go. Okay. So you can see in the middle of the screen now where my mouse is kind of highlighting heavy and tractor trailer truck drivers. You can see the SOC code off to the left. And right now we're looking at a total of all industries within the state of Alabama. The estimated employment currently is 36,810. And you can see the entry, average, and experienced wage, and then annual wages off to the side. So a neat little trick that you can do is you can highlight it and select keep only. So it eliminates all other occupations from the view, and we're focusing in just on this one occupation now. Now what we can do, and so I am going to decide that we've got somebody interested in being a truck driver in the Dothan area. So you can see that once I clicked on Dothan, the employment numbers reflect the estimated employment in that area. We can also see the entry hourly, average hourly, and experienced hourly for the Dothan area. So not only can you begin to get more specific by area, but you can also see that depending on what industry someone's interested in getting into, how that can affect their earnings as well. So right now we're looking at a total for all industries. So if we were to look at, say, mining for heavy tractor trailer truck drivers, there's no data in the Dothan area, but let's look at construction. Okay, so let me flip back to total all industries. So the total of all industries employment in Dothan for truck drivers is 1,560 employment, and we're going to look at this entry hourly wage of $15.88. So let's go back to construction. So you can see that the employment changed to that estimate of around 40 people working in that occupation in the Dothan area. But so the employment dropped, but the entry hourly wage just jumped from $15.88 to $17.45 an hour. If we were to look at manufacturing, we can see that that estimated employment changes to 90 in the Dothan area, and that entry hourly wage changes to $16.52. And then if we looked at, say, transportation and warehousing, you can see the employment jumped significantly to 980, but the entry hourly wage dropped significantly from what we were looking at in construction and manufacturing to $15.22 an hour. So if someone were interested, say, into working as a truck driver in the manufacturing area, but they were curious what the earnings were maybe in Mobile. It's easy. Go to your drop-down menu, switch from Dothan to Mobile. You can see that, of course, employment jumps in the Mobile area. It's a larger metropolitan area, but you can also see a significant jump in the entry hourly wage for the truck driver working in manufacturing in the Mobile area. So just a couple of the neat ways that you can actually go through and utilize the filters that are within the interactive to help someone, not only find what their potential earnings could be, but also how they can maximize those earnings by a specific industry and living or working in a specific metropolitan or non-metropolitan area, as the case may be, with the balance of states that we have. And just a real quick review of the alphabetical occupations. This is going to be basically a total of all industries. So you're getting the same information here. You just can't delve into industries, although you can delve into the specific metro or balance of state area on this first tab with alphabetical occupations. So that is the two ways that you can do wage lookups within the LMI pages. So what I want to do now is we're going to stay on the OES page, and you can see that our website has changed. The branding has changed a little bit, but the layout is still basically the same. But what we're looking at eventually doing is coming up with another tab. So where you see CES, OES, QCW at the top, creating one that is going to be a page strictly devoted to career exploration. So some of the stuff may move around a little bit, like career videos, projections, the CEG, LOG, those things will go into their own homepage, if you will, hopefully sometime soon. But right now, we're going to click on the career exploration guide. So this has changed up just a little bit from what used to be here. Previously, we had a database version of occupational information for career exploration. Some of you may be familiar with our book version of the CEG. That is still available. If you look in the opening paragraph here, you can see the red highlighted word. And if we click on that, you can see the actual CEG pops up, the book version. It's limited to around 300 pages of print. So there's only about 275 occupations in here. But if you want to look at an online version, we have two ways of looking at some of this information. We have to explore by occupation. So if we click on this image on the left-hand side, it's going to navigate to another page. It jumped a little bit too far on me. It should navigate to this. And what this will allow you to do is see an online version of the career exploration guide. We do have the ability to filter by career cluster. If somebody knows a career cluster that they're interested in getting into, they can use that, or they can simply scroll down the right-hand side. And as you can see, there's over 800 occupations that are going to be listed in that scroll down menu on the right. But since we were talking about transportation and truck driving a minute ago, I'm going to ask Kevin a quick question. So Kevin, what type of occupations have you been interested in the past? Maybe something that you thought about doing as a youth when you were going into your post-secondary training?
Well, my father was a welder, so I always kind of fascinated by welding. So if I wasn't doing this, I would probably be welding.
Okay, all right, that's very good. So we are going to look at architecture and construction. That by clicking on that career cluster filter on the left, that will filter all of the occupations on the right. And as we scroll down, we should, oh, you know what? I did construct. Hello. I did construction, and I should have done what? Manufacturing. So let's try that again. So we select manufacturing, scroll down the occupations on the right-hand side. There's welder. That's what I was looking for a second ago. So of course you do have welders that will show up and they work in the construction industry. They may work for government, but when we're talking about career clusters, an occupation only exists in one specific career cluster. So I went with one where they can be employed versus the one that is the career cluster specific. So as we selected welders on the previous page, by clicking on the title, it navigates us to this page where we can see the SOC code, the specific occupational title. There's a general description of what a welder does. So this should look real familiar to any of those that have used the print version of our CEG before. The layout should be very close to that. You can see the typical occupation requirements for education there. On-the-job training, so OJT, length of time, tasks that welder may do on a daily basis. And as we scroll down, if a occupation requires licensing, that information will pop up here in this box. The 10-year outlook. So right now our projections period is from 2020 to 2030. And that will be updating to 2022 to 2032 next year, next fall. We can see that career cluster that I missed a minute ago when I selected construction, but no worries. We found it under manufacturing. You can see the annual wage off to the left-hand side here. Now, the information for wages and employment in the CEG is going to be statewide specific. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten to the level where we can create a CEG that is more regional. So we've left it at the statewide level. So you can see those entry annual wages of $30,342. And 2020 base employment of 10,790 across the state. Average annual openings. So that is going to be a compilation of people that are exiting the occupation, new openings, transfer openings, and new openings to get to that average annual openings number there. We've got the related occupations off to the left-hand side here. And then we also have post-secondary institutions with programs listed on the right-hand side. And that has some of the latest information there for those post-secondary institutions. So that is the online version of the Career Exploration Guide. So if I go back, and I believe I've shown this to you guys before, but it wasn't on the website, but it is available now. It's exploration by pathway. So I'm going to click on that image on the right-hand side, and it drops down to our web page. This one is going to be statewide and regional. And the way that you can use this is by going ahead and starting out per the instructions here, select an area, choose a career cluster, select a pathway, and then select one of the occupations that gets filtered. So if we were to look at, say, Region 1, so North Alabama Works, and if we were to choose architecture and construction as our career cluster, you can see everything on the right-hand side begin to filter based on those selections. We have a career pathway for construction, design, and maintenance. Let's take a look at design and pre-construction. So once I've clicked on that, the occupations down below have filtered to occupations that fall within that career cluster and that pathway. And if we were to look at, let's try architectural and civil drafters. So you can see in Region 1, the 2020 employment was estimated at 310. By 2030, that'll grow to 320 with 30 annual total openings each year. So if we click on that title, that will navigate us to the next page, where you can see the entry annual wages, median annual wage, and experienced annual wage for that specific occupation. As we were talking about how somebody can work within one career cluster, but that may reflect many different industries, you can see that the drafters will mostly work in professional and business services by industry, but they'll also work in construction, manufacturing, and government. And then off to the right hand, we have that listing of public institutions with programs and their website. So somebody can go and explore that community college or four-year college or university to find out more about what programs they have to offer to support getting into that occupation. And that is a little bit on career exploration there. So I'm going to go back one page. So we're still on the OES Career Exploration Guide page. If we scroll down underneath these two interactives, we do have additional information that's available. We have links to ONET. We have links to our industry and occupational projections. The BLS Occupational Outlook Handbook is available through this link. We also have our very own licensed occupation guide. There's the Hot 40 that can be accessed through this link, and then occupational videos. And down below, we have the ACCS link, CTE. One of the things I want to show is we've done away with our prior version of the occupational videos. They were a much older version with older technology. So now when you use this link, it will navigate to Career One Stop, where someone can go through and review occupations by the career cluster. And we can see that within architecture and construction, there's the occupation we were looking at a minute ago with architectural and civil drafters. So just one of the updates that we've done to make things a little bit more cohesive, where it's going to one website, because we know you're going to use Career One Stop a lot, and the videos there are much excuse me, much more updated than some of the ones that we had available on our website. So as we close that, and so what I want to do now is go ahead and navigate to workforce development. And if we go to workforce development home.
Gerald, your screen's off. You probably need to share it again.
Thank you. Let me do that again. All right. Hopefully that's back.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate that. So if we go to workforce development home, and then scroll down, I mean, we've got tons of reports on our website, but what I want to focus on with you guys today is the demand occupations. That's in basically the middle of our page. We work with the governor's office and the ACCCP, which stands for the Alabama Committee on Credentialing and Career Pathways. They basically determine the criteria that an occupation must meet in order to become in demand. And then we apply that to our occupational projections to see what occupations by region and statewide will meet those criteria. So, we do have posters here. These are great resources for career tech, teachers, guidance counselors, anybody that may be working in a schoolroom. So hopefully you've seen those. We've also got our updated brochures, which have gone away from those gigantic brochures we were doing a couple of years ago, back to the smaller trifold brochures that you're probably more familiar with. But what I want to focus on here is going to be the less than bachelor demand list. So that's going to be right here. And we do have these available for statewide as well as the regions. So let's look at region 7. So these are going to be the 25 highest demand occupations that require less than a 4-year degree. We'll probably, with the next series next fall, go back to the old name of the high demand associate and under list. Just to kind of better reflect what it truly is. And so what you'll find here is the 25 occupations broken down by career cluster. So we can see that marketing with sales reps, health science with registered nurses, and finance with insurance sales agents are the top 3 in-demand occupations within Region 7. We're going to remove the online job ads next series and make this a little bit more user-friendly as far as the data that we put there. We will keep the annual median wage off to the side there. So these job ads and these wages are specific to Region 7 for that occupation. So hopefully this is something that you're utilizing, if not every day, quite often within the career centers, since these are going to be mostly the occupations that are going to be funded if they require training for WIOA or maybe apprenticeship for those occupations that can be set up as an apprenticeship. So if we go back one page, we have brought back the Hot 40, of course. I've seen quite a few orders coming through to the print shop for these. They look very similar to the previous versions, just with a couple of exceptions where we changed things a little bit. But the Hot 40 is really truly going to be just a straight list of these are the 40 most demanded occupations within the specific area. Right now, we're looking at Region 3. We still break these down by attainment level. So at the very top, you'll find your master's, doctoral, professional degree. We can see that post-secondary is the most in demand within that specific attainment level. As we drop down to bachelor's degrees, we can see that general and operations managers is the most in demand for that attainment level. We have included the career cluster for that occupation, as well as the entry to experienced salary range. So a lot of times we focus on average annual wages or median annual wages, and that may not give someone a true read of what the expectations should be when they get out of a training program, whether it's post-secondary certificate or a 2-year degree, 4-year degree, whatever it may be. That's why we've included the entry to the experience, so they'll see what their earning potential is over time within that occupation. We have the average annual openings next for that specific occupation. And then for those that have taken a median work key assessment with ACT, whether it's one or multiple, they can use this as a way to go through the list. And, if they scored a 4 in applied math, they could go through and circle any occupation on the list that has a matching score of 4 to see what potentially they could get into that would be a good match for their work key assessment. As we scroll down, you'll see the associate, post-secondary certificate, or some college no degree occupations, and then the high school or less down here at the bottom, all with that same information. Career cluster, entry to experience wages, average annual openings, median work key scores. And then down at the bottom, of course, what we've done is included the locations for the career centers within the region or the state. so that somebody, if they're at a career fair, because we go to quite a few career fairs and job fairs, and we hand these out, and we always tell someone, if you're interested in getting into an occupation that requires less than a 4-year degree, go see someone at one of these career centers to potentially get some help where there may be WIOA funding for that occupation, and they can help you find the information that you need to get into those programs. I want to go back. And, just to reiterate, if you have any current publications in the career centers, on the back page, let me show you on a brochure. On the back page of any of the brochures, there should now be a revised date. Those revised dates should be either September or October of 2022 or September of this year. The reason we have an update for this year is our seal changed. We no longer can use that ADOL seal. That is strictly for use with the executive offices up front. But I will say this, if you have print publications that have the old seal, go ahead and use up your current supply. Please don't trash those. I mean, everything on the inside as far as the data goes is going to be good. The seal is just what's changed. So when you order new versions, once you've used up the ones that you currently have in stock, you'll just see that one little change over here on the right-hand side that I'm circling, where that ADOL seal has disappeared and is now changed to that, I think they call it the Advance A logo that's in there now. But that's pretty much it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back to the Teams interface. So if anybody has any questions, if you want to unmute yourselves and get on the mic, or if you want to type something in the chat, I would be happy to answer those for you.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions and you don't want to do it in the chat, raise your hand and we can get that. Gerald, I did have I guess a question or comment. It looks like that you guys have the employer posters. I've seen that on the website and that's available. So, that's what a lot of employers contact the Career Center staff about. So, great.
Are you talking about the employment posters, Kevin?
Yeah, the employer posters for employers. Yeah.
Yeah, let me, in case somebody's not aware that we do have those, underneath the demand occupations is the required posters for employer workplaces. You click on that, oh no, not again. So we did have this fixed. And this is something that's an internal error with whoever owns this piece of it. We just link to it. So let's see here. Give me just a minute. Oops. If I remember correctly, we can go to oh boy. Okay. So Kevin, what I'm going to have to do, because our links have changed, there is a way to get to it from the home page. And if our link isn't working, I want to make sure you guys have that available. So what I will do is go through and find that link and send that to you so you can send that to your team.
Yeah, that'd be good if you could do that, because once the recording's done, I'm going to send a recording out to everybody in ES. So I'll just add that your email to the link. So sounds good.
Yeah, I will do that.
Is there anyone else that has any questions? What about ordering supplies, Gerald? Does that change for LMI?
No. Same process is still in place. The only thing that, like I said, we've had to change is with our branding changeover to removing that seal. Everything that the print shop now has the new seals on there, or the new logo, if you will. Everything on the website will reflect the new logo. And like I said, please use all your current supplies up. I don't want anybody wasting, resources as far as allocated monies to order new versions of those until you absolutely have to. So continue to use them with the old seal, and when you order them, you'll get the new ones.
Okay, thanks. Anybody have any questions or anything?
Well, Kevin, thank you for today. I appreciate the opportunity to share this information with you guys. If anybody ever has any questions, whether it's just on how to use the website, where to locate some information, or if you have a data request, or if you need help at a job fair or career fair, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And it's you can find me in the in email. Just type in Gerald.Nix, and it's at labor.alabama.gov, or you can use the generic LMI at labor.alabama.gov, and that'll get to me either way.
Gerald, I think you got a question in the chat first.
Yeah.
It looks like it's from Emily Green. Have there ever been a case to where a career field is not listed in the LMI website?
Can you expand on what you mean by career field?
Is our mic plugged up?
I don't know. What's the situation with the mic? Because I never used it in here.
It may be on the camera.
Okay, I can hear someone, but I can't quite make out what they're saying, Kevin.
Emily, is that you?
No, I think that's me.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
All
yes,
right.
sir.
We'll just go, I believe, do you have the next question, Daryl? I'm sorry, Derek?
Derek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Can you talk about what you do at the job fair? Let's say a person walks up to you and say, hey, I'm not sure about what kind of career path I want to take. What kind of information do you share with them when you attend the job fair?
So typically what we'll do is we'll share, depending on what resources we'll take, typically what we'll bring are the brochures, the Hot 40, and then the Less Than Bachelor. So, we'll just start a conversation and, ask them, do you have any hobbies that you're interested in doing? What have you, what have you researched prior to coming to the job fair, to see if they've got any idea if there's maybe an industry, that they're interested in. Forgive me, I'm trying to think. One of the ones in Montgomery recently that I did, I had a young gentleman come up and he had asked me, of course, he comes up to our booth thinking we're hiring for the state, and of course we're not. That all has to go through personnel, but we tell them that we're a resource table for those that are exploring occupations that they may want to get into as a post-secondary training program, or maybe they're thinking about getting into something different than what they've done for a career so far. And I asked him, I was like, so what do you like to do? And he's like, well, he goes, I like working with my hands. And I was like, okay, great. Have you ever thought about getting into maybe a construction type job or manufacturing? And honestly, I can't remember what he had done prior to that, but I think he was just coming out of high school, if I remember right. And he said that he was kind of interested in, doing like woodworking and stuff like that. So I kind of pointed him in the direction of looking at construction and architecture with carpentry, or getting into potentially manufacturing. So what I'll do is I'll hand him the brochure, show them what's on the inside of that brochure, which are all the demand occupations in the state, and show them how he can read it as far as employment, education levels needed to get into that occupation, and the potential wages for that occupation. And then, normally what I'll do is, if I'm here or there as LMI, and I know that there's a career center there as well, I'll find out, oh, make sure and take this information to booth whatever. And that way you can talk directly to somebody that is at a career center. Or if there's not one available, a lot of times what I'll do is like, hey, if you're interested in this occupation and it's going to require some post-secondary training, there's schools here, say University of West Alabama happens to be there, or whoever, community college, Bishop State or whoever. I'll tell them, go to them and show them, this is what you're interested in doing because you like the idea of working with your hands or whatever it may be, and challenge them on how they can get you into a program that would get you to your goal of working in that job, in that occupation. But it's really what we do is we just try to inform. Way back when, back in the 80s, NBC came up with a PSA for kids that was called The More You Know. I like to think of what we do is the more they know. So as we educate and inform, whether it's students or people that are just in the community looking for jobs, the more we inform them, the more they can make educated choices on occupations or fields that they can get into and what they can do for training programs. Hopefully that answers your question a little bit.
Okay, thanks, Gerald. I believe Kelly Taylor.
I'm gonna take just a shot at what Emily may have been asking.
Okay.
So I think it was, have there ever been a case to where a career field is not listed on the LMI website? So we represent all occupations that exist within the state of Alabama. Now the trick is, if we're talking about an occupation that a employer is requesting information on, job titles as they get listed on a website don't necessarily reflect SOC titles, so standard occupational code titles. What we have to do is we have to find ways of matching occupations that a employer may list a job as and converting that into a standardized, nationally recognized SOC code and SOC title. So it's a little tricky, but there's over 800 occupations that we have listed. And of course, that career exploration guide, the online version that I showed you, that'll have every occupation that exists within the state of Alabama in it. The publications for demand occupations are only going to reflect those that meet the criteria set to us by the ACCCP. So it has to have a minimum earning. It has to have a minimum educational attainment. It has to have a minimum number of openings per year in order to make that that list. So if you're looking at those demand occupations and you don't see something listed there, that may be why. So hopefully that'll answer that question. And I see there's another one. Where does the occupation data come from, the state or the employers? So when we're looking at wages, those are wages from employers in your area or across the state. They have surveys that they complete where they list the earnings. It's all kept confidential within the DOL, and that is sent to BLS. So the wages that you see us using go to the National Bureau of Labor Statistics site. And a lot of times what will happen is, and I've forgotten the name. There will be companies out there that basically take our projections that we do in-house, the wage surveys that we do in-house, and they will repackage them and sell them back to people in our state. they could get that information from us for free, but for whatever reason, they um, they see that paying for it is better, I guess. I really don't understand why they do that. But all they do is they take the data that they download from BLS, repackage it into their own software, and then sell it back to people within the state. So if you ever have a company that's asking about wages or employment, send it to us and we will get back with you. I know that Larry over in the Region 3 area, he's been great about sending data requests to us. You know, they've got a new company coming in the area, and they want to make sure that they're not paying too much, but they also want to make sure that they're not paying too little for an occupation, so they can make sure that they get the best people available for their company. And so we'll package that up. We'll gather all the data points, whether it's employment or wages or whatever, and shoot that back to them within a matter of a couple of days, if not sooner than that. And so we love building that kind of relationship within the career centers and the community within the state of Alabama, to become that, you know, that data source that people go to. So.
Yeah, just kind of touch on that a little bit. UI wages are so important in what we do, and especially with the BSRs. I know in my experience with some of the, when I was a BSR and some of the BSRs, that the local Chamber of Commerce and would involve the BSRs in making presentations to employers. But you're available for anything like that or any assistance, correct?
Yeah. Like I said, that you can send that either to my email or the generic LMI email. They both come to me either way. And if I can't answer it, I will find somebody that can answer it.
Kelly, did you have a question? Kelly Taylor, I seen your hand was raised. Give Kelly a second to
Sure.
so she can answer.
Let's see. Is the LMI product ID on the Form 8 R3 demand the same as Hot 40? No. So the R3 demand list is going to be different than the Hot 40. Let me go back to sharing my screen real quick, and I will show you the difference. So that's a good question. So, well, let's just go back. Okay, so we're back to the workforce development tab on our page. So when you see R3 demand, that is going to be this. That is the full demand list. So this is going to be specific to Region 3. And this is going to be every demand occupation that meets the ACCCP criteria broken down by career cluster. So you're looking at probably a good, I don't know, a couple of hundred, maybe, I don't know, maybe 150 occupations within Region 3, because every region is going to be different. And so you will see every career cluster listed there. So this is every occupation in demand in Region 3, whereas the, well, try that again. Whereas the Hot 40, they are still part of the ACCCP calculations or criteria. We just narrow it down to the most in demand top 40 list. That's your difference right there. So if you want the complete list, use the R3 demand or R2 demand, R1 demand, whatever region you may be from. And then the Hot 40, I know some of the career centers have used this as part of like a welcome packet. They'll take the Hot 40 and they'll put all kinds of brochures and information inside of that on the first time somebody comes into a career center. And so they'll walk out with this big old packet housed inside the Hot 40, just as a way to use that as a folder, if you will. But some good questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Scarlett. Okay, last call for questions from anybody.
So if you want to order those hot 40s, they will be on, Kevin, you may have to help me a little bit here, or maybe somebody from one of the career centers. For me, it's on the intranet, but there should be a Form 8 that you can use that is on one of the websites.
Yeah, it's on the HR, I believe it's on the HR SharePoint site.
Okay.
But if you have trouble getting it, you can always email me and I'll get you a form. But for most of you guys, I think it's on the HR SharePoint.
Yeah, and what we do is anytime say we change the name on something, I update the order form and send that to the help desk, and they update the website. Now, I didn't know anything about the SharePoint, Kevin, so I'm hoping that form also gets updated there.
You might want to get with Renee Barkstoff and
Okay.
see if we just to make sure. I don't think she's listening in on this meeting.
Okay. What I tell you, what I can do too is I can just, Kevin, if you want me to, I can just send you that form,
Okay.
and then they can have that in email, and that way they can access that anytime, and that'll be good from here through next fall. If there's any potential name changes, or if we add or take away documents, then we'll just create a new form next, September, October of 2024. So
If you'll send it to me, I'll just compare the two.
yeah, we'll do.
Okay. Okay. I guess that's about it. We're getting near the 10 o'clock hour. Appreciate you, Gerald, coming on. And if there's any other questions or you guys think of something, always feel free to reach out with Gerald. He's very easily accessible, and we'll be glad to answer any questions that comes up. But it is so much a part of what we do, and we couldn't do this without LMI and be as successful as we are. So really appreciate it, Gerald, and thanks for your help. Thank you guys for attending. Don't forget for the managers to do a sign-in sheet and send it to everyone that from the email that needs to be sent. So you guys have a good weekend, and we'll do the next training next month. Hope to see you soon. Have a good day. Thanks, Gerald.
Great. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Bye-bye.